Music can express a range of emotions from sadness, love, to joy. But is your emotional experience the same as mine when we listen to the same song? Our perception is likely shaped by the musical exposures we had throughout our lives, which may vary depending on the cultural backgrounds.
In our experiments, we gathered music from 3 different cultures around the world and asked participants from the same regions about the moods they perceive in music. We aim to provide some answers on how convergent or divergent mood perception is across people with different cultural backgrounds. In addition, we compare the human participants' results with algorithmic mood estimates and examine whether there exist any cultural biases in the current algorithms. We gathered participants from the US, Brazil, and South Korea because they're geographically far apart and speak different languages. Since all the content was translated into respective languages, we first wanted to ensure that the semantical meaning of the emotional terms are interpreted in the same way in these languages. For example, for target mood dimension dreamy in English, we looked for all possible translations in Portuguese and Korean. We then asked the participants from these countries to rate how relevant these words are to displacative images. Then we chose the triplet word combination that had the highest mean correlation. Using this approach, we systematically tried to find the best matching word combinations for all moods rather than simply relying on dictionary translations. The musical stimuli were drawn from the pop charts of the 3 countries, with songs equally distributed across the last decade. Each participant was assigned to a music block that consisted of 10 songs from each country. After hearing a song given in a random order, they first identified the gender of the singer and then gave ratings to their familiarity, preference, and perceived moods. The number of participants and the gender ratio were well balanced across the groups. We collected a total of 11,000 ratings for each mood features, with each song having a mean of 30 unique raters. To begin, we could confirm that participants from each country were indeed most familiar with the music from their home country, but didn't necessarily prefer them. Across all groups, familiarity and preference for songs were highly correlated, supporting many previous studies demonstrating this relationship. When investigating how well people agree with one another within each country, we could see that most mood features are highly agreed upon. However, Brazilians and Koreans showed relatively little agreement for features like calm, dreamy, and tense. When aggregating by the song's origin, Brazilian and American music were most well agreed by their native raters. However, Korean music showed the highest agreement across all 3 groups, indicating that there may be some cliché signals in Korean music that is easily recognized. When comparing between the countries, we found that particularly the Korean-Brazilian pairs showed the weakest correlations, specifically for moods like love and dreamy, that can be considered to be more complex attributes. Lastly, we wanted to compare the human raters results with the current mood detection algorithms. Mood detection algorithms in MIR have shown to have diverse applications, yet they are often trained on existing datasets that are predominantly Western music, which may only reflect the perception of Western listeners. Therefore, we wanted to test the generalizability of these algorithms and see whether they are culturally biased. Counter to our intuition, we found no cultural biases when comparing the 3 rater groups with the mood estimates obtained from Spotify's API. The correlations were evenly spread at a value around 0.5 among the 4 mood features we compared. However, this 0.5 correlation with MIR was still much lower than the correlations between people for these 4 features, suggesting that there remains a room for improvement to better capture the full extent of human perception.
Thanks for listening, and I'm happy to take questions.